You know the exact feeling. Standing at the bottom of a massive goal, staring up at a climb stretching out in front of you, and you simply cannot bring yourself to take the first step. You have big dreams. You want to write a novel, launch a business, or finally get into peak physical shape. But instead of tackling those goals, you spend hours scrolling on your phone or rewatching a TV show you have already seen 5 times. Why does a capable, ambitious mind choose temporary comfort over life-altering progress? It is easy to label this behavior as a character flaw, but this isn't a matter of being born lazy. The real issue is biological. Human brains are hardwired to conserve energy and avoid pain. For thousands of years, avoiding unnecessary, exhausting tasks was a highly effective survival mechanism. This chart plots task complexity against your brain's internal threat response. When you view a massive project as a single entity, the perceived difficulty spikes straight into the red. Your nervous system processes the project as a literal physical threat, triggering a biological shutdown. Chronic procrastination is a defense mechanism working exactly as designed. It is just mismanaged, and willpower alone cannot override millions of years of evolutionary wiring. If a massive task triggers a neurological shutdown, you have to artificially shrink the threat profile of the goal. You don't sit down to write a book, you write one single sentence. You don't try to learn an antenna song on the guitar, you practice a single chord. But even with smaller tasks, relying on willpower to push through is a flawed strategy. It ignores the physical reality of willpower depletion. This graph shows how mental energy operates as a finite resource. With every conscious decision, what to wear, what to eat, your reserves drain. Notice the second line, representing automated routines. It remains completely flat, preserving mental energy for the actual task. If you place your running shoes right beside your bed the night before, you eliminate the friction of deciding whether to search for your workout gear at 6 in the morning. Motivation is unreliable. True execution requires designing an environment where taking the first step requires almost no conscious effort. Even with a perfectly optimized environment, the highest point of friction is the very first second of physical initiation. Getting out of the chair is harder than the actual work. To bypass this exact moment, you can employ a technique known as the 2-minute rule. You promise your brain a guaranteed hard stop after exactly 120 seconds. This window is too small to be processed as a threat, neutralizing the biological resistance to starting. Read just 1 page. Clean 1 single corner of your room. By the time those 2 minutes are up, your brain has already shifted out of a state of paralysis and into an active, engaged state. It is behavioral physics. Once a body is in motion, the energy required to continue the task is significantly lower than the energy required to start it. Pushing a heavy stone requires massive effort, but once it inches over the precipice, it picks up speed and continues rolling on its own. Momentum, not motivation, is the force that carries projects to completion. The 2-minute rule is the ignition switch. When you shrink tasks and automate the start, the paralysis begins to lift. You move from the heavy shadows of your goals into a state where action feels less like a struggle and more like a routine. Zoom out from a single afternoon to a timeline of years. Writing for 2 minutes a day yields a finished draft. Striving for perfect sentences every few months yields nothing. Measuring raw progress is more effective than pursuing perfection. Missed days are inevitable. Treat these interruptions as neutral data points, feedback used to refine your routine and try again tomorrow. Human ambition starts out as a tiny spark. It is entirely dependent on the slow, steady addition of fuel over time to survive. Every 2-minute effort is a small piece of dry kindling. Drop it on the ember, and it flares up, gradually building into a roaring fire. Stop waiting for the perfect moment. Pick one microscopic piece of your goal right now and give it exactly 2 minutes. Ambitious projects are built on the back of these bare minimum efforts, compounded over time. Start yours today.